All right, welcome back to this Signal episode. It's just a week since the last one. This time we won't have an extra speaker, but we will dive with Ramón into the latest at Nova first, and then, as usual, in the latest of news. If you're joining for the first time, this is our space for casual conversation around the future of work, AI, and technology. We both have felt the world is changing so fast that we wanted to create a curated space for us to filter the noise and bring you the signal. This is where the name of the show comes from. So without further ado, welcome to this conversation. Ramón, we are back on the show.
Back alone, the two of us.
Exactly.
How are you?
I'm good. I think we both had an incredible month. I mean, actually, the entire company, April, has been a very, very important month with so many things happening. We should maybe have planned it with more time in between big things, but it's exciting to see that every week we have something new to share with the world.
Always shipping. I'm calling this time not from Madrid as usual, but this nice hotel room that you see behind me is actually in Dubai.
What brings you there?
So yeah, we are here because we have been selected as finalists in the Pitch by Deal competition. Deal is an American scale-up, a unicorn. They're actually already in $1 billion ARR. Huge.
Wow.
And they do basically payroll, but a lot of adjacent services so people can hire the workforce remotely. And they have this startup competition where we are in the finals, in our case on the Dubai region. We applied to Dubai because we have an investor here. It's a region that is interesting for the company. But yeah, it's cool. It's a strange to Dubai that I'm experiencing because there's apparently only 10% hotel occupation. Of course, people are still, in doubt with the war and so on. So, of course, the reception was great.
It's very low.
Sorry?
It's very low, 10%.
10% is super low, yeah. Everything's empty and they treat you super well at hotels and so on because there's basically nobody. We already had an employee here, Maria, our head of B2C. So she welcomed me and we worked together today from the hotel. And yeah, excited to be here. Tomorrow, actually, when we launch this tomorrow, I'll be hopefully pitching there. It's a 2-minute pitch, so it's a complex one, but I'll do my best to qualify for the global finals.
Maybe you can just launch the agent and leave it for 2 minutes and present the short list.
Yeah, exactly. I was tempted to just put the video and that's it. The video release is a minute and keep it there, but I'll do it the normal way. But yeah, as you say, April, beginning of May, it's very exciting. So maybe we can start maybe with an update from the round. No? We discussed that in the first episode of Signal a bit longer than a month ago that we were raising a new round. So can you update the audience on the latest numbers and where we are?
No, I think it's been the round extension, as you recall, it was 1.5 million. And I think my personal highlight is that the members have been responding phenomenally to our invite to join. We reserved an allocation exclusively for them. And in just 24 hours, I remember writing on you on Slack because in just 24 hours, we crossed 150K of interest. And then we reached more than 100K. Of course, there is a natural drop-off, especially because the platform running it is Spanish first, which is not ideal given our international crowd.
With low tech also, exactly. Right? Where we compare the experience what we had at CloudCube.
Yeah, so we apologize to our members for not the best of UX, but despite that friction, we were able to capture a lot of that interest. And now we are in the finalization of the round where the members' allocation has been completed, and that is behind us. And now the Sego network is chipping in with whatever was left for the extended network. And I think in the next couple of weeks, we'll be finalizing everything and we'll have fresh new resources to keep on attacking the market with a couple of strategic hires, especially on the engineering data team and the account executive. So excited to have more manpower behind the big ambitious targets we have set for ourselves.
Totally. I think the Sego guys, they completed most of their fundraising, but they enabled a chunk to be also invested by people from the outside. So yeah, if anybody listening is still wondering whether they should have joined the round, still there might be a bit of room, depending. I think yesterday was at 90% their part, so maybe less than 50k left. Yeah, and then there was the Nova 111. We have had a few of the winners, but I think the launch in retrospective was a big success. We have never done 8 lists and never at the same time. So kudos there to the team. We have now 888 brilliant individuals. Some of them were Novas, but a lot of them were not, which are showing the community. So the community is shining brighter thanks to the list.
We met a few of them just yesterday at the Bocconi event about AI and future work precisely, and it's great to see new people with fresh new eyes and perspective. From this year onwards, the Nova 111 winners are awarded a lifetime membership at Nova, so it's exciting for them to join with full access to all features. So most probably we will see them active around the platform and in-person events. And I think exciting for me to head to London on Oxford campus to celebrate the UK award ceremony. We had to switch roles at the very late moment. But yeah, I think for us, coming from nowhere, being able to enter the Oxford campus to celebrate talent and merit, it would be something I look forward to, and looking forward to meet the first UK winners, because that's the first time we do it in the UK. So yeah, many great things coming out of the Nova 111, and some of them will also join the Nova Experience, which is this 3 days retreat in the outskirts of Turin in Italy in October, where we'll gather some of the winners and city leaders for 3 days retreat, reflecting on life, but also on the future of humanity. So yeah, looking forward to see this crowd of Nova 111 winners develop in the Nova ecosystem.
Totally. If the audience is part of the Nova network and they haven't been to the Nova Experience, it's clearly our best event. So yeah, if you have to choose only one event per year at Nova, that is clearly the Nova Experience, because it's where you get to actually connect with the more people in the best setup, and I think you get to live the values of the community to a different level. No? There's been companies, projects. There's been so much good stuff coming out, friendships, many good stuff coming out of the experience. That if you just have to choose one event at Nova, I think that's an experience.
100%. 100%. Then, of course, you have been spearheading the Nova Recruiter launch. You, of course, appear on our now viral video. So how
people
was it?
Stopping me. People are stopping me on the street. No, but maybe we can do a bit of a post-mortem. Retrospective. I think overall, when you're launching a new product like this to the market, it's hard to know. Like you don't the day before you wonder like what happens if this gets super viral and tomorrow we are doing a 3 million ARR. No, of course it's hard, but could have happened. Did not happen, unfortunately. But I think we were very happy. I think we captured something like a couple of hundred new users in the first month, which was good. I think some of the highlights of the launch. I think the quality of the video made a difference. Actually, a competitor in the space has just released, I think it was 2 weeks after, their video. And it's another level, in my opinion. I think in 2026, people want to see product, want to see demos, or something completely different where you play with maybe Jude Law or,
like Legora.
Famous people, or it's like Legora. Or yesterday there was a good one by a company called Monaco that raised a Series B. That was very cool because it's a sales tool, AI sales tool, and they basically would put scripts of films of the Wolf of Wall Street, or where they talk about money and making money, and it was funny, it was cool. But unless it's something very, let's say, fictional cinema, Jude Law, I think Legora was the prime. Memorable. You have to show product, because if you stay somewhere in between with the classic, okay, I have a founder and I have some kind of movement behind and a little bit of product, but not a real demo, it stays, in today's world, it's hard to shine. So I think number one, investing in the video, it was key. I think then the social media strategy was well crafted. A pity it didn't went viral on X, but on LinkedIn, it got a lot of reactions and likes and visibility, and probably the most product hunt as well. Sorry, I didn't mention we did product hunt as well. We were fifth on the day, not too bad. Of course, we expected to win, but our dear Sam Almond came in with the Images 2.0, which are actually quite good. And there was this one product that won our day. That was a hardware product that was very cool, actually. Like, it was more of a B2C kind of play, so you cannot, because it's hard to compete. And then probably the one strategy that was very unique, I believe actually your idea, right? If I'm not mistaken, in the management offsite, is that most of the employees of the company, and the day after we launched, they announced that they were changing jobs. But of course, it was not a real change. They kind of put on their LinkedIn that they were early adopters of No Recruiter, and people are very curious, right, about job changes. So they got
and the algorithm of LinkedIn doesn't read, I guess, the content of the job updates, so it gets promoted as a big step.
I think in my own case, it was very funny because my post was the one with the most reactions and more shares, the main one with the video. And actually, my post of changing jobs, people I think were like, "Fuck, what is Ramón changing jobs? Like, what the fuck?"
Unexpected.
It had more impressions, or way less reactions, but more impressions to the one I was changing jobs versus the one of
the video.
Of the proper launch with the video, right?
Yeah.
So I think that's the summary of the how to launch a new product in 26.
Yeah, and I think the entire website revamp. I think the everything was very proud of the team. It's been an intense couple of months leading to that, and now we are entering a new journey of challenges around free versus paid tiers, upgrading, paywalls, which is something new for basically most of us at the company. We are navigating.
Yeah, freemium is basically new for us, right? Because we never have a full freemium. We either had a premium with a membership that you can turn free if you cancel, no? But we never had a proper freemium, and now we are probably have been a bit too generous on the free. So people are utilizing it a lot, but then maybe not converting as much as we wish. So I've got work there on the product to get the offering right.
No, there are many cool features arriving. Yesterday we saw the new campaign module that I think it's a big leap forward compared to the V1. So people can now edit much more frequency, channels, prioritizing one or the other. It's a great engine for saving even more time. So hopefully our members listening or the audience can now go on the website and see the latest version. Exciting to see.
Totally. Yeah, I think that this kind of policy we were mentioning at the beginning of always launching, always shipping. I think that's the new world. I think our strategy going forward is going to be every week we're going to be basically shipping features. So as you said, this week we have a couple of major releases. Probably the social media announcement will go next. But exactly as you said on the campaigns. So campaigns now you can do so much more customizable. We are adding email. If you send an email, you get the email back. So campaigns are getting so much better. But also in this month, if you remember, we launched a proper MCP, or we were playing the MCP internally, but the proper MCP was launched this month. And actually the fully agentic workflow, we have gotten used to it, but we haven't actually discussed it about this in Signal. It came only 2 or 3 weeks ago. So I think that's the new policy.
I think Christian, our dear CPO, has been going viral because we also released a free course for recruiters to adapt to the AI era. So how to integrate everything in a workflow with Claude and automate the entire process. And I think
maybe put the link if you want to become an AI recruiter. Below.
He reached, I'm seeing now, 858 comments. I've never seen this myself.
Right. It's getting crazy, and it's very cool because it's I think it's the best lead magnet we have ever done, because it's, if you see the profiles we're commenting, it's ICPA entirely for what we call the marketing-led Nova Recruiter. That is the one you can buy on the web. It's basically founders and recruiters that are commenting, and basically, yeah, I think that makes me believe that we have to do more like this, like lead magnets that are super useful for our ICPs and that they integrate well with the product. I think here the key is that I think we are, for now, the only tool out there in the space that is providing MCP access to the tool. And basically, the magic of this course is that, as you say, everything that a recruiter does, you could do from Claude and talking to humans. Basically, that's their job. So the only sourcing tool that actually integrate very well in that workflow would be Nova Recruiter, right? So by learning about how to become an AI recruiter, you hopefully will test the product and hopefully like it.
I wonder what's the process to be an official connector on the Cloud library. Actually, that's a good idea. We should investigate because it should be able. Yeah,
there was this company in Spain that I'm actually chasing them to come to the podcast called Tuyo. It's an insurance company, mainly on home insurance, but they are doing things just better than traditional. It's a bit of the Prima in Spain, but even more digital and even kind of AI native. And now you can buy, I think they were the first to be able to purchase directly on OpenAI on ChatGPT. So you talk to ChatGPT and you can get your insurance with Tuyo, which is nice. Which is quite cool. I think it was they were the first company in insurance to integrate in Spain. And if you check their market share versus their positioning on GEO, it's crazy. Like they are very low in terms of market share. But if you ask in Spain any AI, what would be a great provider of home insurance? Tuyo is one of the 2-3 top picks always.
We should learn from them and see what has been the secret sauce.
Apparently, the tool they're using is a tool the team just purchased. It's also made by a guy, a Nova member. What's his name? He was the ex-general manager of Klarna in Spain. I think
I think you introduced him to the team.
Yeah, I don't remember the name of the company right now, but that's the Omnia, and the founder is Dani Espejo. Great guy, great over. And yeah, the tool is the tool is basically very cool. It teaches you how you are ranking in your key questions and in your space on most of the AIs. And then it tells you what to do if you want to improve that positioning. So which blocks you need to appear, what type of content you need to generate, and there's quite cool.
Nice. No, it's a hot topic. Maybe we should invite him for one of the next Signal to dive deeper. But yeah, I think on the Nova sides, I think those are the best highlights from the month for our members. They'll soon be able. Actually, it's already possible to
also from today. Yeah, they have a gamification. No?
Exactly. We are releasing new gamification tiers, starting off with a very easy to say, which is redeem your points directly on platform, which has been a nightmare before. It was through a type form, and it was both an admin nightmare and members' bad experience. But also the gamification tiers I'm very excited about, because it's a great way to showcase to the rest of the community how helpful you have been, how active you have been, how many doors you have opened to others. So building around this idea of give before you take, and I think it's gonna, make some of our more engaged members shine, and also act maybe as a trust signal, knowing that you have been active helping others. I think it ties into our values and code of conduct, and excited to see it live. I think very soon.
Already live in the platform. I was testing it this morning, and you get members that have helped a lot will get good karma from this. And I'm actually a Platinum member. What are you? I guess I hope you are a Platinum as well.
I am a Platinum Nova member, exactly. Yes. And we have some inside advantage. But looking forward to see the distribution of member status around the community.
I think this done well. It has worked. Like, for instance, in my case, when I worked at BCG, I loved the gamification of Marriott, and it was a bit like that. You had a status, and then you had the points. So both status and transactional, I think the combination of the two make for the best gamification tier. So and system. So it's exciting.
Yeah, I get you get now more points as a multiplier. So the more higher the highest tier gets you 1.3x the amount of point you would get otherwise. So there's also an incentive for people to raise status or reach a new status to be rewarded even more. So it's a flywheel. Yeah, hopefully members who listen can try it out. And if you have any feedback, reach out.
Totally.
Should we move on to the world and leave the Nova?
What happened? What's happened outside of Nova in this last week? Yeah, I can start maybe. I can start maybe with a personal project instead of the news, like something outside of Nova. But I have been reading about this framework, or this kind of it's a framework called Paperclip, that is basically kind of a way to run an autonomous company, right? So the idea is that you set up a company where you are the board, and you tell the CEO what are your goals, and then the CEO basically will hire agents on your behalf, put them to work, assign tasks. The whole thing is quite cool, and there's an interface that is runs in your local computer, in the browser, and I think it's cool. The concept is very cool, right? Like you said, okay, if this actually works, I think it's cool. My experience with it, so I did it with kind of a side project. So one of my with the idea of one of my students at my course of entrepreneurship, which is basically how to help high school students go to uni, right? So there's a lot of unis out there. ChatGPT can give you some, but the quality of research is probably not enough. So the idea is that they match you with the right uni, the right program based on your inputs of both qualifications, grades, So I gave this as a project to Paperclip, and the result was a bit. First, my feeling is that if you give it kind of solid models or not super powerful models, the quality of the output, when you revise it, it's not there, or I wasn't able to make it there. Probably it's maybe also the way they set the goals, right? The moment you give it Opus, they consume a lot of credits, like super fast. You get your license to be maxed out. So don't give it the Anthropic key. Like utilize a subscription, your Max or your Pro, because otherwise you run out of credit very soon. And the whole thing, particularly for instance on the product building, it clearly lacked the pace. Like for now, or my experience for now, is that you still need to give AI a lot of feedback and refine things and think about the experience. The CEO and his agents, they were not able to do this to the level. My feeling at the end is that one evening with Claude Code, myself, I would have done 10 times better, right? So cool framework, not useful in my experience.
Yeah, lacks the orchestrator perspective to the level he needs to understand quality, iterate, and go deeper. Maybe.
I guess as always, the criteria, the taste, the judgment, it's not there, right?
Should ask Christian. I think he was a bit of a bigger supporter of Paperclip. We need to see where he has left it. I've tried it once, and it wasn't as impressive as the concept is, but maybe he will get there in the upcoming releases. On my end, I think just yesterday at this Bocconi event, we discussed a little bit the highlight from OpenAI entering the realm of service through the Deploy company. So they're basically entering the arena of consulting providing, where I think the strategic play is that switching APIs, it's easier than switching service integration and building very ingrained processes ad hoc for customers. So I think there is a movement towards creating lock-in into key accounts. They've raised 4 billion to start from various different actors, even including Bain and Company, McKinsey. So there are big institutional players behind it. and it would be interesting to see where it leads this. This came shortly after Anthropic announcement of their service partner ecosystem, where Anthropic's play has been, I first go in myself, so they also have the service arm, but I also enable the integrator and service players like PwC, Deloitte, Accenture. In my opinion, there is both the strategic lock-in effect. I think also customer feedback becomes direct to the mothership, so you don't need to have consultant in the way. But it's true that long-term, how you manage ecosystem partners so you don't become competitor. I think it's an interesting play. I understand why they do it, and there is so much that organization, especially enterprise these days, have hard time really shaping AI processes in a way that builds real value instead of just giving copilot to employees around the company. So there must be a knowledge bridge and making sure you develop ad hoc stuff. So I think the figure of the forward deploy engineer that became key through Palantir approach that now is becoming a bit of a standard also in some scale-ups that we've spoke recently. So I think I'm excited to see the expansion of AI players into the service layer. Let's see whether the experiment. I mean, you're a consultant yourself, so I don't know your take and perspective.
I think it's a requirement for the valuation they are having. Like, in order to maintain those valuations, they need to keep growing at a crazy path. And the reality is that they are already very big, right? That they're already doing 30 billion ARR, more or less, the two of them. So in order to have 2-3x growth at that level, it's quite hard. So unless enterprises start to adopt AI at a much faster level, they won't do it. So I think, in my opinion, the reason behind it is not so much stickiness, but adoption. And I think they are also realizing, these companies, that very long term, as we were discussing, I believe, last week, the whole intelligence thing is going to become a commodity, right? So you have to have other ways to create moat. So to me, the moat or the defensibility is a second order thing to this, but the first is to simply, they need to grow faster, and enterprises are not adopting it fast enough. It's actually more us and the startups and the freelancers that are using it a lot. As of how effective would be the lock-in, I think the lock-in of the SAP or the Salesforce through their partners, ecosystem partners that they were implementing, was very good, because in the end, you always needed the software. Like, there's no way you remove SAP one way from the other. In this case, of course, they build workflows and use cases for the company. But if I think about it, the layer, like what really OpenAI provides, that is in the end a key, right, and a model that works for that use case, that is less defensible in my view than software, right? Or the software of SAP or Salesforce, right? Like a closed type of software. So I'm a bit less convinced about how sticky that would be, because tomorrow you change the API key to Anthropic or Google, and then you do the evals again, and then the use case is not going to take as much to rebuild. But it's true that there is an interesting moat if they are able to lock in service providers, right? If they are able to say, okay, I am McKinsey or whoever, and only work with OpenAI exclusively, the reality is that McKinsey or Deloitte or whatever service provider is the one that talks to the client, and we are learning every day that human relationships are the best moat in the long term. Like that's the very unique thing that remains. So if you're able to lock in an agency only for you, I think that's a decent play where they might get more moat.
I think it's interesting. It's a bit of a risky move. So maybe McKinsey prefer to participate instead of, maybe because if tomorrow the headlines is Anthropic is the best model, I don't come to you and say I only have OpenAI. So I think maybe that's why they put a ticket instead of signing exclusivity deals.
And I think the best service providers won't sign exclusivity. Exactly. You will do it with probably second tier, right? So let's see where it ends. But yeah, they need this if they want to keep growing.
Indeed. No, totally.
maybe another piece of news from my end. There was this article becoming very viral on Twitter by an Anthropic engineer, Tarek, which is basically about HTML versus Markdowns, right? So everybody in the audience that has started with Cloud Code know, all of the context is given through skills and Markdowns and so on. And the problem of Markdowns is that whenever you get a Markdown back from the model, if it's very short, it's fine. But whenever it's very long, you never actually read them entirely, or it's very hard. It takes a lot of energy and a lot of concentration to do that. And there's this very simple trick where instead of whenever you need to give feedback to the model on, on anything, instead of asking for a Markdown or a text, if you ask for an HTML is super rich as a way of presenting stuff. You can do graphs, you can do, sliders, you can do, it can be very beautiful, actually, very easy for a human to absorb visually. So apparently the whole Anthropic team, all of the engineers working there, whenever they want to keep interacting with the system, let's say to keep up with Claude and not just simply rely on the model and that's it, they're using a lot of HTML. No? So I started to use it myself. So for instance, this week we were working with our funnels in HubSpot. We were rebuilding them with Mercedes and part of the team. And in order for me to give them a lot of feedback, instead of creating just a Notion, I created an HTML that was much easier to view, and you could actually imagine HubSpot, the columns, how cards moved. And I loved it. I think it's a great tip.
Better than Notion, you would say, because it's a bit more.
I still had a Notion for the knowledge to stay in the company, but I then asked Claude, turn this
more
Notion
as a whiteboard. The whiteboard.
And HTML just to read, like it makes the whole reading and consumption of information when the document is very long. I think it makes it easier. So yeah,
I haven't tried it yet, but yeah, it makes sense. It might become the new standard in terms of efficiency. I think is pretty much
it. It consumes a bit more tokens to produce, but the reality is that for you as a human to stay in the loop and make better decisions and give the right instructions, I think the efficiency is not so much in that the model will take more to produce the HTML versus the Markdown, but you will then your response and your judgment will be better because you'll basically grasp the output of the model in a better way versus just Markdown. So try it and you let me know next week how it goes.
Yeah, I need to. It's true that I was looking for some updates and news on the trial OpenAI versus Musk, but I haven't heard significant advancements, so we'll wait for that maybe for next week. Though I don't know if you have seen the releases of conversation in between Mira and Sam during those days when the rumor was that Sam was out of the company. So now, since the court has had access to Slack, Instagram messages, you start seeing real conversation between Sam and Mira at the board meeting, where he was asking how things were going, that Satya Nadella was going in, hopefully changing the mind of the others. You can see the entire conversation. So I think we'll see some interesting evidence out of the court case.
What's your take? Like,
yeah, I mean, the truth is that you can see that we don't have the full picture of things that happened during those weeks because there is some statement around the board is very doesn't trust you for running this. Like there has been something underlying which doesn't get mentioned in the text. But I think politically speaking, Microsoft was able to make things work. But I didn't get access to it's not available. I think it's obvious that this court case at least is slowing down and defocusing a lot the attention of OpenAI because it's a big thing. Because there are scenarios where OpenAI can be affected both in terms of penalties and change in governance. So it's a high risk.
Is there a scenario where basically they become back and not like the non-for-profit holds the whole thing back entirely?
There is one. One is that there is otherwise a big fine that they might pay in the orders of billions So any of the potential outcomes, it's not looking good unless for some evidence OpenAI gets validated as being done everything truthfully and legally. But to me, it smells like something has gone wrong, because if one of your early founder member, which was Musk, investing a significant amount of money and time and talent, then all of a sudden things go wrong, something that hasn't gone as the books required has happened. So it will be to the court to judge. But yeah, it's gonna be interesting, because what made me reflect more than the matter as such, where it's early to draw any conclusion, is that when the level of court proceeding gets there, there is no privacy layer, because Instagram messages, Slack messages, email exchanged, everything becomes public domain. So there were a few exchanges around newspapers and articles on being very mindful of where you share what, because the privacy layer in the AI era, it's really something you need to consider. So next time you have a sensitive conversation with a stakeholder, know that even if it happens on the Instagram DMs or whatever, if court needs, it will become public matter. And now we are accessing conversation of Sam and Maria.
Better not written, no? Not
Exactly. I mean that is the main underlying evidence. So yeah, I think we all give for granted that if you and I on Slack on our private conversation we exchange messages, it's for us. But of course, we won't go to court. But if things go wrong, then there is no way around it. So yeah, it was a good reflection around privacy. So yeah, more than a news is a reflection of this week, looking at the development of the case.
Interesting. One more that I can share with the audience that I loved is an article by Gary Tan, the CEO of Y Combinator. So the guy apparently says that he's back to, let's say, building. I mean, not coding, but building with AI up until 2 a.m. every morning. And he's basically suggesting kind of a way of setting up your personal AI, where he believes you should have what he calls a thin harness. So the harness is basically that personal layer of code that routes information here or there. He believes that needs to be very, very simple. Like, don't overcomplicate things. Like maybe a bit of OpenClaw. There's this Hermes that is getting a bit trendy these days, but something simple. And then what he calls is fat skills and fat data. So lots of skills building up on top of each other and lots of data. So the guy basically holds kind of what he calls a knowledge graph. So every person he meets, basically he's building kind of a CRM, if you wish, of all the history of the notes, meetings with the person.
Wow.
Blah, blah, blah. So he's much more able whenever he meets someone again to ask the right questions, bring in the right context, like not simply ask how are you doing, but to give something meaningful. Very cool. He also has this skill. He open source everything, by the way, on GitHub, so just anybody can get it. He open source this skill. It's called Book Mirror. So you basically you take any book in the world and then you apply all of the learnings to your life and what are the implications that makes you reflect. Like, it's very, very, very cool. So yeah, the guy is amazing, and I do believe this is the kind of human empowerment that will make 10x or 100x individuals. Like, imagine this guy, how much his agenda must be. Like, he has a crazy life and a crazy job, and the guy is mastering it through this layer of AI. So yeah, thin harness, fat skill, fat data. That's the trick. Basically, one more tip on the skills. He mentioned that the skills were very, very. They were not super long. Like, each skill was doing one thing, and doing it very well. And he built one skill to talk to the other skills, and that was he was getting the most.
Yeah, he says building a skills is a skill in itself, and yeah, it's true that Claude released the skill that was the skill builder, but I think it's way more strategic if you know why you're doing it a certain way. I need to dive deeper into that because I haven't I haven't seen it. But yeah, it's interesting. I think some other interesting news. I think that brings us to more of the maybe the moat of Nova as a community. It was cool to see that Anthropic is hiring a developer community lead, actually based in Madrid, with about 200k euros year salary. And the role, it's pretty much building communities on the local grounds to speed up adoption of Claude and really building a sense of belonging, a bit like Notion did. I think Notion also had a great community ambassador program.
Exact playbook. We have had some Notion community, I think that
Yeah.
our old
Yeah,
there she was a Notion
Yeah.
community builder.
yeah, and also one of our employee, Mina, she was
Yeah.
Turkish, living in Stockholm. She was part of the Notion community. But I think the fact that deep tech companies rely and view the value of community building as a defensibility, I think it's a good reminder on us not only building a Nova Recruiter AI product, but also attaching a layer of community to it. I read the job description, and I think they are very business oriented because the person needs to be able to attribute business and economic value to the community effort. So it's not a community for the sake of spending a few hours together. It's also really trying to identify what is the delta of value creation of the ambassador program. Yeah, so it's pretty cool role.
Very cool. More news maybe on my end. There was this filtered news that apparently Cerebras, which is a chip company, is going to be targeting a 26 billion IPO. That's one of the biggest IPOs in history, actually. So Cerebras apparently is one of the few credible challengers or competitors to Nvidia in the chip layer. They are it's a company built in 2015. They are a bit over 500 million ARR, still burning lots of cash, so not as profitable as Nvidia. But apparently they have these chips, which are basically, if you are training super big models, they are the fastest because they are compressing basically in the same silicon chip, both the compute and the memory. Where apparently the GPUs Nvidia, they separate those. They have it in the same. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to grasp all the technicalities on what are the differences, but basically what I understood is that it's the fastest device if you want to and the one that gives better performance for the biggest models.
Wow.
They have a big deal with OpenAI.
Yeah, I see Sam Altman is one of the investors together with a few other big names. I'm on their webpage. So
exactly. So OpenAI has an agreement of compute for 20 billion with them. So yeah, very cool company. I actually got to learn about them a few weeks ago through our dear Camilo. Camilo was our co-founder's office intern back at the time, and now he's an entrepreneur that has raised some money to basically do trading in
predictive markets.
Predictive markets, exactly. Try to gain some delta there and do some market making there. And apparently, it was cool because the use case where Cerebra was brought up is when I gave him No Recruiter to test, and we did the search. And he saw how rapidly the database found the results. He was telling me, you guys should use Cerebras because it was super fast. But what he didn't know is that the algorithm on the filter is not an LLM, and that's why it's so fast, right? If it had been an LLM, of course, you cannot process 800 million people at that velocity. Maybe with Cerebras, probably not even. But yeah, that's when he told me about the company, and exciting company. It's clearly, if you think about it, those are the guys that are making the most money, and the best companies for now in this whole race are the chip companies.
It's good to see competition as we drive prices down, and I think also Apple is looking for differentiating their chip production partnerships around the world. So I think more players, it's good for consumers and for innovation. So they're excited. I guess they are US based, most probably.
Yes. They're based in the US. Yeah. I mean, I was going to say, unfortunately, we're still not having this kind of companies in the EU. We do have a few chip companies that are there trying. I think we announced around a couple of weeks ago, but yeah, not even close, unfortunately, for now to this.
Yeah. I don't know if there is any other news. I think one that made me reflect is more of from a dear friend and also now a member. Is a professor at IE, Antonio Aloisi. I follow his Substack on the workable futures. It's called. He has been researching since now many years the job marketplace dynamics. And I think one key question that raises is AI making us more productive or just busier? Because there has been a tendency on disengagement at work increasing in 2026. Is the lowest time since the last 3 years. And of course, that raises a lot of questions in terms of is AI adding value to people, productivity, to their quality of life, and even the latest case on Meta that you might have read of. They were installing tracking software on employees' computers so they can capture mouse movement and keystrokes to train the AI so they could be replaceable. That has a big, of course, clash on the news. And I think all is going into the direction where a big majority of the larger public, maybe the ones who are less in the use of AI, the trust in AI is very low. Actually, it's lower than ICE, which is the immigration enforcement. So all this data from the US market gives us a bit of a perspective on there are some as us at the edge trying and playing and having fun, but there is a large population of people that sees AI as a threat and even as a disengagement moment where you feel you can't add more value, and it starts to see some social impact. So yeah, I think that's
we have discussed this. I think one day we should do a session on UBI and this kind of stuff, but it's clearly polarizing productivity and will even polarize more society. So let's see where it ends. But yeah, I think it makes sense that people fear it. Ones are lazy by nature, so adapting is tough.
It's very
so yeah, very interesting way. We can close it there. I think it was a good session today, and yeah, let's see if we can bring. I have a couple of names I want to bring to the coming signals. I believe you were speaking to a couple of people too. So yeah. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for listening.
Is there any takeaway from this conversation, or?
No, I think the takeaway for me, or this, this thing that is in my mind is that the only way to stay relevant in 2026 is to keep shipping and keep building, at least for a company like us. So if you want distribution that is a bit B2C-ish, we need to keep shipping and keep building. So what I take with me is that, if Anthropic is able to release at that speed the complexity of features they do, we need to be there as well, and we need to keep shipping, keep distributing features well, and that's the only way to stay relevant.
Totally. Actually, one member yesterday said, "Guys, you're launching something new every week, every month." So I think the member and the community is feeling it. So we need to keep doing that. For me, I think one piece of reflection is, looking at the giants like OpenAI and Anthropic, re-engineering the go-to-market, coming up with a whole new way of serving the market because they need to grow, like having that iterative mindset of going back to the whiteboard. I think it's inspiring to us as founders because now that we launched the new product, we feel the playbook is set. but the reality is that we haven't really gone back to the creative mindset of saying, okay, or look at this example of the course. No, maybe it's the best. I don't know, by far is been the most successful launching element. That was a side idea. So I think the key takeaway for me is, if the big players who are already in the multi-billion-dollar revenues go back to GTM and discuss what can we do more, I think it's a relevant question for us as founders and for any other company out there to never underestimate go-to-market ideas, because that's what makes the difference. And we haven't been as viral as one single post today from Christian or yesterday, which shows that a few small ideas might turn into key winners. So keep on iterating.
And never, don't overlook services. I think you and I have been, a bit like yet another hunting service. Like, we have come to not love them, let's say, but the reality is that services are sticky. So there might be, as say, new opportunities for us in a new way of servicing the market, which is maybe not a typical headhunting assignment, not just a product, right? There's layers in between. This outcome-based pricing. What if, instead of just pricing our recruiter per users, we price it as a headhunting, but we do it for you with, there's, I think, cool opportunities there that we need to explore.
Amazing. Okay, then with those takeaways, we leave you. Thanks for sinking in and for listening, and see you next week. Have a good one.
Bye-bye.